Today I'm going to share with you what happened almost 6 months ago here in the Asheville area, how it's been this whole time, and what the future of Asheville looks like from today's standpoint. So stay tuned. When the Hurricane Helene approached Asheville, North Carolina, and the whole West North Carolina last September of 2024, almost 6 months ago, nobody believed that it would be that bad. Nobody was prepared. Nobody could foresee just how bad it will be. So right now, today is Wednesday, and we are waiting for tropical storm to hit Asheville. Here, we are not getting hurricanes, thank God. What we are getting is tropical storms. And the lack of communication initially, especially, we didn't have any power, we didn't have any cell service, no internet, no water, nothing, made it even harder, close to impossible, honestly, to comprehend the magnitude of damage when the internet kind of start coming back a little bit, and people would post on Facebook that, Swannanoa is gone, Biltmore is gone, or this is gone, or that is gone. And we here who live here, locals, couldn't even grasp, or couldn't understand. We were like, what do you mean it's gone? Turns out, not a single area was gone. Even places like Swannanoa that was severely damaged, one of the worst damaged areas here in Buncombe County, was not all gone. And all these images and news that were circulating in the media and social media specifically would just play or same location over and over again, and would just say that it's all gone. The whole Asheville is underwater. It's not underwater. It was not underwater. Damage from flooding was very kind of isolated. Of course, it was mostly along major rivers like Swannanoa River and French Broad River, as well as low spots where a lot of water was flowing towards to, a lot of areas along or nearby any kind of body of water, any kind of stream or creek also got flooded, also got damaged. Areas and neighborhoods that were not even in the flood zone got flooded. The worst damaged areas, of course, River Arc District, 80% of it was underwater. Biltmore Village was almost completely underwater. Places like Swannanoa, 50% of it was underwater and just completely destroyed, but not all. Few neighborhoods, at least one that I know of, where houses were located along Swannanoa River, were not flooded. They were swept away. But the whole Asheville was not flooded. In fact, that same day, that Friday, in the afternoon, we were driving around and we were able to get close to Biltmore Village, and I showed that to you in my initial video about the storm. And then we managed to get to River Arc District, where a ton of other people were just looking at French Broad River that seemed like an ocean, and it was just sweeping everything with it. It was a wild, wild scene. And so we were able to get around that same day. Another damage happened more kind of broadly, and that was kind of more all over the place, and that was from fallen trees. That pretty much happened everywhere, although again, it wasn't like 100% of the places. Looking out of our window, for example, it looked like nothing even happened. We didn't lose a single tree, but a couple roads down from us, driving along Hendersonville Road and looking at Biltmore Forest, man, that looked like a war zone. All those 100-year-old trees were just down. Looked like, somebody just like knocked them down. And of course, there were quite a few mudslides that not only took some properties in certain areas, mudslides blocked major interstates. That's why the access to Asheville was blocked off for weeks. It was so wild. You can refer back to my old video and kind of get an idea how it was. I documented and I recorded for 5 days, 3 days before the storm and 2 or 3 days after the storm. So you can refer back to that. But again, that was physical damage that happened here in the area. Even with the number of downed trees and down power lines, power was restored relatively quickly. It was probably within a week or two. I can't remember exactly now. And I know all the people who worked for places like Duke Energy and all the other companies, and we have one of our clients who works for Duke, and he worked like 90 hours a week. So power was restored relatively quickly. Water, not so much. We had over a month when we didn't have running water, and then when we got water, it was not potable. Nobody could drink it for a few more weeks. even that was a huge relief. I gotta say, it got really old real quick to not be able to flush your toilet. I know it's TMI, but that was just the reality of everyone here. Not being able to wash your dishes, bathe, just do basic things that you take for granted. On the other hand, community, people who live here, and that is such a great testament to the kind of community we have here. They jumped into action so quickly, without any training, without knowing how to do it, without experiencing anything like that before. Everyone just jumped into action. People were either cutting trees, clearing up the roads, delivering supplies. There were a ton of places that popped up all over the place where people could bring donations and then distribute donations from. There was a group of private helicopters who self-organized in Swananoa, and they were flying and dropping supplies, rescuing people. That was wild to see. As a volunteer, boots on the ground from day one, what did you see? What was it like?
Definitely chaotic. I mean, you're driving through all of this like destruction, trying to figure out where to go, what to do. Nobody had anything.
Communication
so it was, like,
was cut off.
Oh yeah, we had no communication. I mean, that took a week to get back, so that was kind of hard. So once it did get back and everyone started reaching out and checking in on each other and kind of started figuring out like what people needed. My first instinct was just like, I had it to be loved. And they were at the time hiking up supplies. 5 months later, it's kind of hard to think like that's where it started and that it's only been 5 months. But at the same time, I feel like it's been 10 years some days. We had mules hiking up places, helicopters coming in, which was so crazy to see, but amazing at the same time. Before the emergency teams came in and stuff, it was literally us, like locals, people that were here. We were the ones that jumped together and was like checking on neighbors, and we were like, who can we get to? What do we need? What does everybody need? We were driving stuff in for some places.
Were you part of any organizations initially, or
No.
you were just like everyone else, part of their own little communities and silos and just
Yeah.
checking on each other?
I wasn't with any organization. I didn't know what to do. I just knew I needed to be out in it, and I needed to be helping somehow, and I needed to be connected with like the community. The community was amazing to see coming out of it. Everybody really came together, which was so amazing. I remember the first couple weeks, like nobody was in the streets. Everybody was out volunteering. Anything that they could, you know, you had people out with chainsaws, like hacking streets so people could get to their houses. People were out makeshifting bridges so people could get to their homes and their driveways. And then you had people like at distribution centers setting up supply drives.
Churches,
anywhere.
fire stations, everywhere.
Yeah.
Every warehouse was taken, seems like it.
Yes.
How much effort people in this community put into helping each other and supporting each other and being the neighbors, but also people from all over the country. I had so many people reach out to me who saw a few of my videos about after the storm and who were asking how they can help, where they can donate. People were coming and they were asking, how can I plug in and where can I go to, you know, I'm here for the next few days. It was hard because, again, nobody knew what they were doing, and there was not a whole lot of centralized, you know, help. Again, private citizens just self-organized, and they were that force who helped a lot of others, a lot of their neighbors get back on their feet, get rescued, get supplies to them.
So far, we had an incident commander come in that has been trained in emergency management, and he has been helping us try to find resources and make connections. His name is Russ, and he's been great because he got us organized as a neighborhood to figure out where to even start. World Central Kitchen has been feeding us. I've seen on the ground Red Cross. I've seen Samaritan's Purse. Our neighbors mostly. Our neighbors are packing up everything they can find and bringing them and saying, what can I give you? So a lot of the help that we have gotten has been other people in crisis that are just doing their best to make sure that we are all taken care of.
Initially, it seemed like the help was very slow to arrive, and a lot of people who had their properties damaged, flooded, not washed away, but flooded, they kind of had to figure it out on their own real quick how to mitigate the water damage, because once the mold sets in, it's pretty much game over. The other aspect of such massive natural disaster was not just physical. Economic damage was also done on a massive scale. It all happened right before the last quarter of the year, which is the most profitable quarter for most businesses and for the industry in general, for the tourism hospitality industry in general.
Yeah, so speaking from the perspective of the hospitality and travel industry here in Asheville, it is a big part of our economy here in Buncombe County in the mountains. Tourism represents about 20% of our total GDP here in Buncombe County. That's 1 in 7 jobs, 29,000 jobs here in our community. So to have something come through at peak travel season was, a physical blow and a financial blow as well.
In other words, I know a lot of people give a lot of pushback on that. Initially, all they care about is tourists. But again, without tourists, 20% of our population cannot be supported because their jobs depend on visitors.
We know that 70% of the dollars that visitors bring here into our community, it's a net new dollars. It's coming outside and it's spent here and they leave it behind when they go. And 70% of that happens outside of hotels and lodging establishments. That's happening in art galleries, with tour operators, in restaurants that we love as locals. It really makes its way across the community into our cultural organizations and into, really so many aspects of the special community and its creative spirit.
And so, of course, the storm impacted people here physically, mentally, economically. A lot of businesses, a lot of industries, including real estate industry, pretty much came to a screeching halt because not a lot of people were able to come look at homes. A lot of our clients, understandably so, decided to cancel their trip in October or November. All that created even more sluggish market. The whole last year was very slow nationwide, but after the storm here in the Asheville area, real estate market really slowed down. On the flip side, it created quite a bit of opportunities for buyers who were ready to jump and who needed to move. And people move to the area not just because they want to move. They have some reasons. They want to be close to the family or they're relocating for jobs. So several of our clients were able to take advantage of this opportunity. And year to date, our clients were able to save over $200,000 because there were deals. There were a lot of motivated sellers. I believe we are at the tail end of this time, although there's still a few, but we start seeing some multiple offer situations happening. Properties go quickly, and I think coming springtime, come summertime, it's gonna pick up and it's gonna be quite a bit different, just like in other areas, in other industries, for local businesses, for people who live and work here and who depend on local economy.
Well, we were sitting here at almost the 6-month anniversary post Helene. It is a completely different energy in the city. Like, we can all feel it here. As we head into spring, there have been a number of milestones, throughout the winter that are building on this momentum as we're hoping to welcome visitors back. Some of the highlights include, of course, things that happened early on, like Biltmore Estate, which will be blooming with the spring at Biltmore, which is just an iconic and gorgeous experience in spring and summer. We also have a lot of the iconic spots on the Blue Ridge Parkway, which is that scenic drive through the Asheville area and through the mountains, are starting to open. So there are access points to some of those most, exciting lookout points and vantages and hiking trails where you can see layers of mountains for miles, and that's really exciting. There are 11 miles through Asheville, but then there are also access roads that get you up to some of those famous lookouts like Black Balsam and Graveyard Fields. We also have exciting news, on the hiking trail front for those who like to walk outside. National forests like Pisgah National Forest have opened up hundreds of miles of hiking trails, and then we have started rolling out updated hikes on exploreasheville.com where you can search. We've been, putting a lot of effort into updating those resources because they are open and available to visitors this spring.
Right, and it's not just visitors, locals who live here. We've been just so wanting to go back and get on the trails. And I know it's been a hard progress because it's not necessarily a priority, like, clearing all the roads and debris and all that, putting people back on their feet. But Super excited about that. Super excited about all the trails. That's one of the reasons people move here and live here, is because of the outdoors. And you can be outdoors basically a few minutes from your front door.
It's been really encouraging to watch, especially through the winter months when it's just naturally a bit slower for visitors anyways, to see how locals rally downtown for, Southern Conference basketball tournaments, for a lot of the events that we had. This place and this culture, mean a lot to those of us who live here.
Yes.
And so I know, speaking for myself and the people that I know, we've all been making that extra effort to go down and make sure that we're saying hello and spending some time with the businesses that we love, and that's the reason why we live here.
100%. And so what is now in stock for Asheville in terms of what can people expect when they come to visit, when maybe they're moving? What are the plans?
Well, we are making progress day by day as a community. It's been very exciting to watch the event calendar and get the news rolling in of more and more openings. And some of these are new openings to the community. Some of them are reopenings. We have the Western North Carolina Nature Center that just reopened. They were along the Swananoa River and did see a lot of damage along that corridor, but now they've opened, and that's a wonderful place to see some of the natural animals and black bears in their habitat there. Also, something that's new to the area that we're very excited about is the North Carolina Glass Center, which is opening up in Black Mountain. Asheville and the Buncombe County area, the mountains in general, have a really long history with glass art, and so there are a number of studios across the area where you can go and see glass artists working in their kilns, like firing things, and buy art, glass sculpture, glassware. I think it's just a beautiful, immersive art form that is really fun to watch and also take classes. So the new North Carolina Glass Center out in Black Mountain is opening and will be a really cool testament to that history, as well as an experiential offering for our visitors and locals.
Awesome. If you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing here in the Asheville area, our team and I will be honored to be your real estate experts of choice. Check out our reviews on Google from people mostly like you, as well as people who live here and who have become our clients. I know a lot of people wondering, what's needed, because people still want to help. And that's been such a great, I don't want to say great side of what happened, but the response from the not just local community, but from people from all over the country who wanted to come, who wanted to donate their time, money, skills, volunteer support. There are still resources and still ways to do that.
Absolutely. And you mentioned business as usual, and while we've seen so much momentum and resilience in this community, and calendars are full and doors are opening, there's still parts of our community that have a longer road ahead and are recovering and need visitors and locals to plan a trip with heart. For those looking to volunteer or to give back, there are a number of organizations here in the community, Greenworks or Riverlink, and on exploreasheville.com, and you'll put the link down below.
Yes.
We have a roundup of voluntourism opportunities where you can come in and have an experience that also connects you to the comeback journey of this community.
So if you have the desire, if you have the heart and resources and time, you can kill two birds with one stone, basically. Come visit this great area that has a lot to offer. It's jam-packed with all kinds of stuff. So you have all kinds of options when it comes to visiting Asheville this coming year, this coming months. The links to all the different opportunities will be down in the description. Over 5 months later, where we at from your perspective, from volunteer perspective? I know driving around town, driving around River Art District, it still looks like a war zone. It still looks like not a whole lot of progress was done, but just the impact was so huge.
Yeah, we still need so much help, and we're gonna need a lot of help. So definitely come and help out, get back into the community, and just put everything back into Asheville. We live here, we love it here. Like, why wouldn't we want to be part of it?
Does people still live in tents here in Asheville? Even some people who live here locally don't know exactly what's going on with people who did lose their houses.
I think Asheville kind of lucked out in that. I don't know about too many people losing houses. I do know once we get to the outer skirts. So like 100%, I have been working with an organization called Emergency RVs, which is another really amazing group. We've been delivering RVs. Last week, we just delivered like 12. That was really huge.
Just like here in Asheville, people were self-organizing the efforts.
Yeah.
People in the other parts of Western North Carolina, like Bat Cave, Burnsville, other parts, they have these self-organized communities where they raise money, raise efforts, raise supplies, and do things for the community. So Bat Cave is one of them. I'm going to put a link down in the description for that. I'm going to share again the link to Burnsville project that I shared before in my live video. And if anybody wants to kind of be part of it, one thing is to come back and visit.
Yes, please come back and see us.
We are live. For the most part, if you want to volunteer, you can still come and volunteer. There's plenty to do, even here in River District. I think it's going to be months, if not few years, just to clean up. I see that they're compiling things together. They're just kind of like in piles, but there's still so much to do. As you can see, there's a ton of opportunities to not just come and visit the area and support local businesses by spending your money here, but you can do volunteer work, you can still support in other ways, combine the two, do whatever you want. Come visit. If you have any questions about your visit, places to go to, what to do if you're thinking about relocating and really want to figure out what areas to avoid, maybe what areas were damaged, what to expect, what the process can look like right now after we know what we know, reach out to me and my team. Our contact information is down in the description, and I'll catch you on the next one.